remember all of those in the transgender community and in the greater LGBT community who have been victims of violence and who, in many cases, as you've seen, have lost their lives. By very definition, this is a sad occasion, and we're here to carry on the memory of those who have left us in the past year. But we're also here to commemorate and to remember the loss of not only life itself, but the loss of what I would call human potential. What I mean by that is that a few years ago I gave a speech where I mentioned that if you would think about all the potential of humanity that has been lost throughout history because people were told that they couldn't be who they are. The young black man who was told that he couldn't attend college. The young woman who was told that she could only aspire to be a secretary. Think of all the wonderful things that people could have done if only we had let them. And every life that we remember tonight is not only a loss of precious life, but it is also a loss of human potential. It is a loss of someone who in some way could have changed the world. Because what we're fighting here tonight is not just violence. What we're fighting against tonight here is also fear and ignorance. Fear of the unknown, ignorance of what is and shall be. And so we have to play a part. Each and every one of us in this room has a part to play in helping to dispel that fear and in helping to end that ignorance. And C.C. Cox earlier tonight alluded to the fact that she has had transgender friends, and I too have had transgender friends who have educated me. And those of us in the LGBT community need to be educated by our transgender friends on who they are, what they are going through. Because it is only by knowing that we can do something about this fear and this ignorance. You all know that we've heard a lot in the past few weeks about the epidemic of suicide among youth in our community. I want you to imagine, when I was thinking about what I was going to say tonight, I want you to imagine, if you will, what it would be like to be a teenager in a small town in Texas with a fundamentalist parents, with hostile schoolmates and an uncaring administration, and having feelings that you were not born in the right gender. Imagine how lonely and how very, very tough that struggle would be. Fortunately, we live in a day and time where actually technology is probably our best friend in dealing with a situation like that. Because now people can go online, can call, can talk to people hundreds or even thousands of miles away, and most importantly, know that they are not alone. And while it is certainly important that we tell our LGBT youth that it does in fact get better, I think all of us can testify to that. We have to do more. We have to make sure that those youth know that there are tools and resources that will help them get through life today, as well as 10, 20, 30 years down the road. And my friends, I think we also need to acknowledge that we have work to do in our own community, in the greater LGBT community. We must always remember that all of us must stand shoulder to shoulder for our rights, collectively. And let me say that I believe with all of my heart that we must always reject those from within and without our community that would say it's enough for lesbians and gays to have rights and transgenders can wait for another day. We have to stand in this struggle together.
Yes.
We will all rise together or we will all fall together, but in any case, we must all be together as one. What this all comes down to in the end is probably is encapsulated best in the phrase, live and let live. And I think Thomas Jefferson maybe said it the best of all when he once said that it troubles me not that my neighbor believes that there is one God or 20. It neither breaks my leg nor picks my pocket. We live in a nation where all of us, every single person in this nation, lives under the blessings of freedom. And freedom means truly being whoever you want to be. And until we get to that point where each and every one of us can live as we see fit, and not have to suffer because of it, then we have not achieved that true essence of freedom that this country is supposed to embody. But I want to end tonight by telling you that I do believe that there is reason for hope. And I want to give you a few examples. Just this month, in Alameda County, California, the first openly transgender judge was elected to the bench. And right here in Texas, the mayor of Houston, Anise Parker, appointed the first openly transgender judge in the state of Texas, municipal judge, and a very, very good advocate for the transgender community and a member of the transgender community, and also one heck of a lawyer, Phyllis Fry. And even in Oklahoma, we saw the brave candidacy of a transgendered woman named Brittany Novotny, who ran, and although she did not win, she gave a good fight to one of the most bigoted members of the Oklahoma House of Representatives. And believe me, in Oklahoma, that is saying a lot. Right here in Dallas, we were able to achieve two major victories in this past year. Number one, by including gender identity in the DART Dallas Area Rapid Transit non-discrimination policy in June. And then this last week, thanks to so many in our community who really fought bravely, we were able to, for the first school district in Texas, the Dallas Independent School District adopted a strong anti-bullying policy which includes specifically sexual orientation and gender identity. There is reason for hope. And you know, when we came here tonight, each one of us was given a candle. And I think that's incredibly appropriate because what all of us must be are candles, shining light in the darkness, fighting fear and ignorance and bringing hope and compassion and knowledge and courage. And by being candles, each and every one of us, we can light a better path for those who will come after us. And maybe someday, we will come to this ceremony and we will be able to say with pride and with joy that no new names were added to this list